Did you know that Steve Ogg, the actor who voiced Trevor in GTA 5, recorded some of his scenes in his underwear to stay in character? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 113. My name's Gareth. I'm going to be your host. And on my virtual left is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
Good evening, Gareth. I am super. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Very polite. I like it. And on my virtual right is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Good evening. I'm also very well. Yourself?
Yeah, I like this concern about our well-being. It's very polite.
It's like help the aged, you know. We have to look after you.
Wait, speak for yourself. I must say, at the top of the show, we must put a foul language disclaimer out as well, Paul, just in case it goes a bit south after your antics the other week.
Yeah. I will say that this week the quiz will be hosted by me, so there will be no outbursts when I get a question wrong. So rest assured, listeners, there will be no naughty language from me this week.
And I have to apologise, I got the name of the game I was talking about wrong. It was called something else that I've completely forgotten as well. But it was basically the Mars rover game. Right, chaps. How's your week's been? Darren, how's your week been?
Very nice, thank you. So I'm currently in the middle of a week off work, which is always nice. And we were away in the Lake District for a nice chilled out weekend. So yeah, very relaxed, very chilled at the moment. Just been seeing some family today. So yeah, doing all the bits and bobs that you'd normally do on a week away from work.
Lovely. Have you been doing anything else? What have you been watching?
So I finished Afterlife, the Ricky Gervais drama on Netflix, which I've got to say is brilliant. I thought the third series, it was a little bit been there, done that, but it was still brilliant. It didn't have the same impact as the first series for me, but the ending was quite good. I won't spoil it, but he ended it in quite an open way. It's open to interpretation. So if you like the first two, you'll really enjoy the third series.
I really liked the first two. I thought the first was brilliant. I thought the second he did well, and then the third one, same as you just said, Dan. I think I watched the first episode and was like, I don't get this now. It's sort of pushed the idea a bit too much for me. You know, it's like it should have ended, I think, a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think he's ever done a series 3 before either. So when you look at The Office, when you look at extras, he always kind of did a 2 series and he's out and he's on to the next, onto his next project. I'm not sure about Derek. I'm not sure if there's a third series actually, but he normally does 2.
Yeah.
So there was some debate about whether he pushed it a bit far. And there's a couple of people missing.
Yeah,
so Roisin Connerty's missing, and his therapist is missing. So yeah, still really enjoyable. But I agree with you. It didn't quite grab me in the same way the others did.
Yeah. Good. Paul, what about you? What have you been doing?
Well, you know, nothing as exciting as going to the Lake District. I've been to Leeds. I don't know if that counts as exciting. I did hear a rumour that Samuel L. Jackson was up there, but I didn't see him. Yeah. Which was a shame. I'd love to have seen him.
Because they're filming the Avengers series. Not the Avengers series. What are they filming? Secret something. One of the... in that Marvel universe.
Secret Invasion, I think it is.
Right, yeah.
Off the back of the Captain Marvel film, yeah.
Yeah.
No. So you guys know all the information. I just know that he was there. But anyway, and apart from that, it's my son's 11th birthday in about 2 weeks. So we've been running around trying to get everything sorted. His birthday party is going to be at Laser Quest. And apparently you can have they call it a non-eating adult who gets to play the games with the kids. And guess who's been volunteered for that?
Brilliant.
So, fantastic. Yeah, there'll be a 49-year-old man running around with a bunch of kids going, no, I'm twice the size of everybody else. Stop shooting me. So, yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait.
You need one of those head cameras seeing this.
Yeah, just to record my coronary.
I was going to say, Paul, are you going to take it really seriously, do you think? Or...
Absolutely. It'll be full
God.
on, Call of Duty in there. I'll be stop, drop and roll and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, I need to see this.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Great. I've been madly working, doing tax, but I've been watching Ozark, which I said I was going to watch. The new season came out on Netflix. For Ozark fans out there, it's really worth the watch. It's brilliant. And it's the last series. It's split into 2 parts. So this is part 1, and you kind of just devoured it very quickly. It's quite funny because there's been a 2-year gap between recording. And nothing else kind of notices, but he's got in the thing. There's a family, and the boy who started it, he was like, must have been 12. Now he's like, grown to about 6 foot, and looks about 21, and it's meant to be like the next day, continuing afterwards. It's quite funny. But yeah, that's good. Now, when we go into games, I think I'm gonna start, gentlemen, if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. You knock yourself out, mate.
Now, I was invited to a special preview for the Xbox Hub, and it was back in early Jan, and it's just come out today on Wednesday the 26th. We are recorded today, so it's the embargo has happened. So I went to see a presentation of developers for the game Crusader Kings III, and Crusader Kings III is a PC game that came out, think about maybe 2 years ago, to critical acclaim. It's a really deep strategy game where you pick a region in the world in the Middle Ages, and you might pick a king or a noble and in that region, and then basically you're trying to build your lineage over centuries. So that means you need to kind of like look around you, get power. Do you do stuff by diplomacy? Do you do stuff by war? Do you marry the right person? If you marry the right person, do you kind of like do you marry someone who will give you benefits, as in diplomacy benefits or war benefits, because their family, it's about who you marry into. And the important thing about the game is trying to keep that family lineage going, like I said, throughout the centuries of the Middle Ages. So the game's over if you have no children. If you have nothing happens, and you don't get any, and you don't in your power, your name. So it's all about that. But as in games like this, it's really heavy, heavy menu wise, strategy wise. There's for example traits like personality traits that you can have, and that list goes on forever. What each one does, what pluses it gives you, what minuses do. So it's a really heavy kind of like really deep strategy game. And then after the presentation, I got to play with it for about a week. Pretty much the full game, I think, really. But with all these games, you need hundreds of hours, so it's kind of like it's a bit frustrating because you go into it and then you're doing it and then you go, oh, stop now, it's been taken away, and you just want to be, when you're in it, you want to really be in it completely. It's like really, really what's the word?
Immersive.
That's what I'm after. Yeah, really immersive. And you're really kind of trying to work out stuff. Things will take, if you, for example, you might have a king who's your brother on the side that you want to assassinate. So you're sending spies over to them to try to work that out. This takes a certain amount of time. You can pause the menu at any time and then run the time through. So it has those, those kind of deep strategy games that PC owners are using. And it's interesting that this is one of the first really deep strategy games that's come over, and it's only on Xbox Series X, and it's coming March the 29th, which isn't far away, is it? Really,
it's not very far. It's just after my birthday, in fact.
And that's the Series X game. I asked them, is it going to come to Game Pass, because I think it was on the PC Game Pass.
Yeah,
and they say we've got no plans to talk about that yet. But I just want to, I want to say we've got a very close relationship with Microsoft. That was their answer. So cool. It could be, which would be exciting. Would you two be interested in playing a game like this?
Possibly. Yeah. I mean, I do like a strategy game. Can I just clarify something first of all? When you said that you got to play this for about a week, was this just because they couldn't get you out of their studio, or, did you get to play it at home?
I got to play it at home.
Oh, right, cool. That's fine. I was just thinking these guys would be sat there going, he's not gone home
He's
yet.
not gone.
Told to bring a sleeping bag for them. Just
Yeah.
Excellent. I think I've seen the trailers for this, and the scope of it does look insane. You know, are you going to marry this woman because she might have kids or whatever? It's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to have to be looking at the amounts of controls and stuff. I mean, how does the control? Are you allowed to talk about how the control system works? Does it? Is it mapped well to a controller?
I mean, that was the main bulk of the presentation, was showing the menus and how you go around and use it, because that was the thing they were like really obviously wanted to kind of persuade people in a sense. You know, this is okay, and that's what they did. That was their main thing. So they just showed like the first bits of the game and where you can go and how the sub menus work and everything. So when you do it, it's like anything. It's like I recently played Football Manager on the Xbox, which isn't the best, and it is like it's same with that. It just takes a while to get used to it, and when you get used to it, it kind of is fine. And it's pretty much, you know, you've got things. It feels a bit more more interesting in Football Manager when you've got everything's attached to certain controls like R2s and the L2 bumpers. So it does feel good. It just that tutorial is key. And that tutorial is a long tutorial. I think you need to have a little notepad and pen next to you.
Was it about 7 days worth of tutorial?
It felt like it.
Sounds intimidating.
Yeah, but it's when you get used to it, it's fine. And they've really done a lot of work on that to try to make it. And that, like you said, that's the main thing. We talked about Age of Empires, didn't we? I feel if they've done this, which is the other bit, I reckon that must be coming over. We know they were talking about it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I reckon they've got to do that. They can do this. Yeah, so exciting. Could be exciting. Yeah. And also an Xbox Series X game only coming.
It's good. Good to hear.
Good. Gentlemen, let's talk about your games. Paul, what have you been playing, first of all?
The first game I've been playing this week has been a remaster of a game that I used to play 23 years ago when I had a PlayStation. Not even a PS1, it was just a PlayStation in those days. And this is Shadow Man Remastered. It's basically a 3D sort of action game based around voodoo and the ability that your character has to flip between being in dead side, where all the dead people live, surprisingly, and live side, which is obviously the real world. And basically he's got to go and stop an engine that was built by Jack the Ripper that can end the world. And it's well, the review's live on the site if you want to read my proper thoughts. But it looks awful. It controls like it was designed by somebody who has heard about hands but doesn't actually have any. And yet, I don't know if it was how much of it was like nostalgia, but I actually enjoyed playing it. It was good to play. So it looks bad, it controls poorly, but it's good fun. So there you go, middle of the road.
Yeah, nostalgia. It gets you every time.
Absolutely, that's it. But then, you know, when I reviewed Blood Rain 2 Remastered, the nostalgia didn't get me then. No. It was a bad game that looked bad, whereas this is a game that looks bad but is good, if you get me. So yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, Shadow Man, that's on the site. You can read. I think you could probably read all the stuff we're talking about. That it's all on the site. The preview for Crusader Kings III's on there. Shadow Man's on there.
Excellent.
What about Cannibal Cuisine? Is your one, Darren? Isn't it?
Yes. So Paul would be delighted to talk about this.
I've just got to say thanks again.
It's all about sacrifices, mate. So I was asked to review Cannibal Cuisine because I've reviewed similar games in the past, such as Overcooked or You Can Eat, and a game called Let's Cook Together as well last year. So essentially, it's pretty much a clone of Overcooked in terms of how the game's structured. So you've got to cook dishes against the clock and then serve them up to these Hoobachu gods that need to be satisfied by being fed. But the twist is that you have to chop up tourists that visit the island and use them as ingredients, essentially. And all the dishes have got like pun names and whatnot, so it's a bit of a laugh. It looks quite good, but it's a bit of a it's got rough edges. So there's certain niggles, such as when you're trying to pick up items. If there's quite a few on the floor, you'll pick up about 5 before you need the one. You pick up the one you need. There are some levels when we were playing with 3 of us where there is just not enough space to get round each other, and you're trying to cook against the clock, so it's quite high pressures, and you keep knocking your friends off into the water or into a pit of spikes or whatever. So it's really difficult because you can't help but think, I could just go and play Overcooked if I want to play this type of game. I think what they were going for was more of a party vibe, drop in, drop out, because it's not quite as complicated as Overcooked. There's only one method of cooking, for example, and you just combine items, cook them, and then serve them up. So there's local play, and you can play online with friends only as well. But yeah, Paul made his thoughts very clear at the beginning. I had to give it a bit more of a chance to reviewing it. But yeah, it's fun, but for a limited time. I think frustrations will overcome that. And the other thing I haven't mentioned is the controls are a bit wrong. So you can't change the control setup. And on the Xbox controller, B is the action button. So to pick things up, put them down, and you'll instinctively go for A every time. And it gets really frustrating because it doesn't feel like the natural fit for the controls. And as I've said, you can't change them, so you are stuck with them. So yeah, if they wanted to change the controls around, maybe tighten up how it plays, they could squeeze a bit more life out of it. But as it stands, there's work to be done, I think.
See, I'm all for it. People going, I think it's fine for people to say, okay, that's a success. There's a Zelda game that's a success, right? We think Zelda's brilliant. Let's do a Zelda type game. That can work with, that's fine. Yeah. But it's those kind of things. If you've got to get it, you've got to make it better, or you've got to that should be the goal. Make it better, or make it kind of around the same. Because like exactly what you said. You said I'll go back to playing Overwatch. What's it called? Overwatch.
Overwatch is something different.
Yeah. Or it might be on Game Pass soon. Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, it is, and that's the thing. I think they've tried to make it different. There's a bit of a gimmick where you cook people and you chop them up. So there's a bit of combat. Like you can fight people, and then you take a few hits, you die, and then you lose a few seconds and you respawn. And there is an ability to heal each other, or you can eat food to heal yourself that you're not using to cook with, but just feels a bit pointless. And there's you can choose one of 4 skills when you start the game. So you can dash, which is by far the most useful one. You can breathe fire to cook things more quickly. You can stun enemies, and you can heal. But apart from dash, they all just feel like a bit of a gimmick where once you've got the achievement for using them, you'll never really use them again in the game. So I don't feel like there's enough of a difference to make it a viable alternative to Overcooked as it stands.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I won't be playing that.
It got a 3 though.
Okay,
3 out of 5. Yeah. So it got an average score. It's not terrible, but it's except no imitations, it kind of is in the shadow of the game that influenced it.
Yeah. Okay.
It wouldn't have got a 3 from me.
No. I'll say that much.
Okay, fine. The next game I'm going to talk about is a game that comes out tomorrow. So it comes out on the 27th, but my review's, I think, live now, actually, on our site, so there's no embargo. And it's a game that is one of my games. And it's called The Longest Road on Earth. And what the hell is this? How can I describe this? It's like it uses pixel art. It's like a 2D pixel art, and it's a narrative. It's a narrative adventure, maybe. But there isn't much gameplay. And basically, there's 4 short stories with a holding frame, and this old man who runs a shop, and every time someone comes in and picks an object, it goes to a short story. And there's maybe slight connections, but they're not. The world is like human eye thing, but they've got like deer's heads, or they're pig's heads, or goose's heads, so they're like There's no reason
Animal
for that.
Crossing in a way. Those
But they're kind of more. It's sort of like set in a 1960s Middle America feel to it, and what you do is it's the mundane. So these stories they have a beginning, middle, and end, but they don't have a dramatic conclusion in the middle of them. They don't have something that drastically happens. It's sort of like it's a slice of life in a sense. So, for example, you have someone who just goes off to work. So we see someone commuting, looking out the windows, and then they go to the work. Their different jobs. They go to a soda factory. They queue up for ages. You queue up for ages to get in to the soda factory. Then you'll put some bottles on the thing. Then you'll go home. You might look up in the sky, and as you look, it will cut to you see a bird flying. There's no words. There's no text, but what there is a beautifully kind of composed album. It's like by this one kind of band with about 40 original songs in that plays throughout these things. So that on its own is amazing. If you love the music, if you're into it, it's great. If you don't like the music, you might have a problem. You really, really hate it. But it's, like I said, it's really pixel art, 2D pixel kind of art that and all you're doing on the gameplay wise is that you're generally moving left or right. When you see something, you press an object, it might, like I said, it then cut to where you're looking or seeing something, then go back. So it's visual storytelling. There's a little bit, some more gameplay, but nothing complicated. It's really, it's really simple. I found it amazingly beautiful. I found there's something about it. Like, I think it's because you're doing these very mundane things. And you've got this soundtrack, so you really are imprinting your own stories. You're really trying to go, why is this happening? Oh, what's the links? What is this? You're really trying to work it out yourself, rather than it's given to you, like spoon-fed to you. I really liked. It's another kind of like this whole host I think we talked about before of kind of like there's a lot of these kind of like, this is by a small group of Spanish kind of art gamers, and there's a few in New York, and I'm always reviewing these games. It's sort of like the art world has suddenly gone into games. This kind of underground art world going into games. So they're producing these little indie games that are just like going to a gallery sometimes. It's kind of interesting. It's really interesting, I think. It's great to have that both.
I'm a fan of those. I really am. If you can be kind of taken away somewhere else for a couple of hours, it's not particularly stressful or taxing, but you get immersed in the world. I think there's definitely, that ticks a box for me.
It's worth a go. Longest road on earth. I don't know how much it is. I've forgotten. It won't be that much, I don't think. They're normally around £5 or something. It's probably $44.99. We'll find out now. But yeah, it's great. I really loved it. It's really, like you said, it took me, I don't know, a couple of hours, like you said, maybe less, and it was great. I really enjoyed myself, and the music's brilliant. The music's amazing. Yeah, good. Darren, you got another game?
I do. So this latest game I'm playing is called Who's Your Daddy? And it's in game preview at the moment, so my thoughts will be up very soon. God, this is a very difficult game to describe, really, because it's just a bit mad. So I've played quite a few games over the last year or two that are almost like sandbox simulators, like Deer Simulator or Just Die Already, or games like that. So essentially, it's you play as either a baby or a dad, and depending on who you play as, you've either got to go around preventing your baby from, essentially, I can't say it in a nice way, killing itself by sticking its fingers in plug sockets or drinking paint or goodness knows what else until mum gets home, because clearly in this game dads are not responsible. Or if you play as the baby, you've got to defeat your evil dad, basically. And it's just mad. Like you can play it online, and I was surprised to see that the servers were actually, matchmaking was really quick. There's people on there. There's crossplay with PC as well as Xbox, and you can have like a 1v1, or you can play like a nightmare mode where you're playing as the dad and all the lights are out, and you've got to fill up the petrol generators, and all these babies are roaming around attacking you with screwdrivers and hammers and chucking stuff at you and God knows what else. And they've got like yellow eyes that are like headlights, and their mouths wide open. It's freaky. It really is. It's just a bit mad. I'm trying to think about how to put my thoughts on paper, never mind kind of articulate them now. It's very much in its own genre. I don't really know what else to say about it.
Wow, it sounds unusual. It sounds completely unusual and mad.
It is unusual, and there's loads of, you can roam around the house and the garden, but there's some rooms that are closed under construction. So I'm assuming when the game fully releases, you'll be able to go around the whole house. But it's quirky, it's fun, but it wears off after quite a short time. Right. I found it's very repetitive. There's not really much to do. So I know it's only in game preview, and there's a few glitches and stuff which you get with game preview, but I don't really know what they can do to give it a lease of life, unless they're just hoping that the kind of online crowd will enjoy playing against random people around the world again and again. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it like a kind of I am toast, whatever it's got, I am bread and all that? So is that a physics based?
Yeah. It's like a competitive sandbox game. Like you can pick up loads of items, you can pretty much interact with anything in the environment, and you play in quite a small area, which is a house and a garden, and you kind of roam around the same rooms and stuff. So there's no kind of progression in it at all. It all takes place in one area. As I say, like Deer Simulator and Just Die Already, which was you played as an old person, escaped from an old person's home and had to roam around this city causing chaos. It's kind of cel-shaded, ridiculous physics, that type of thing.
Right, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. That's the closest thing I can liken it to, really.
Okay. I can't do those games. Driving me mad.
It's I don't know how I'm going to sum up and describe it on paper. I'm still contemplating that.
Good. Paul, what's your last one to talk about today?
My last one is another one that you might enjoy, actually. It's basically a graphic novel, but you play a character who doesn't have a name, but you have the power to be able to touch people who have died recently and see how they died. And I've just realised I'm saying all this and I haven't actually told you what the game's called, have I?
No.
It's called Kansei The Second Turn HD. Now, about 2 years ago, I reviewed a game called Jisei The First Case HD. And this is the follow-up to that, basically.
Right.
So, yeah, you're sort of an investigator, sort of a bratty teenager, and you go to a house and somebody ends up dead, and then basically you have to go and talk to this rogues gallery of other characters and try and figure out who did it and why and stuff. And it's beautifully drawn. It's very interesting talking to the people, and depending on how you talk to them and the answers they give you and then the way that you react to those answers, you can end up with different endings. So it's quite interesting. I'm enjoying it.
Is it like a visual, is it like a graphic novel? Is it like one of those graphic novel games, like a visual novel?
Yeah, basically you see the game through your eyes, if you like, and then the person that you're talking to is front and center, and you can choose how to talk to them. And what was that one that was something I can't remember? There was something about a giant sweet or something. That was another graphic novel that was quite good. Okay. This is like that, but with more dead bodies.
Good.
There you go. There's your tagline right there.
Have you reviewed it? Is it up on the site?
I haven't done it quite yet.
Come on.
I need to get it written, but yes, it's very enjoyable.
Well, I know what you and Darren will be doing after this podcast. You need to both get yourselves down, write your reviews and your previews.
Absolutely. Although, would you fancy a game of Cannibal Cuisine first, Paul?
You know how I said I wasn't going to swear in this podcast? No flipping chance.
I best not push it then.
No. Let's go on to some news. There's not much on the news. It's still quite quiet. There's little bits dropping in here and there. There was an announcement about Star Wars, which everyone always loves. And the big thing is Respawn I've got 3 new Star Wars games out and about. Paul, which ones are they? Yeah, I knew. I thought I'm going to give it over to one of these two. It'd be awful. So, no, I was cruel. I think the first one is, which I think there's a rumor that this will be coming maybe at the end of this year, Christmas time, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, the sequel to the game. There's a kind of like the rumor that will be 2022 at the moment, but they haven't confirmed that at all. There's an FPS that's coming and a strategy game by Respawn.
Now, that's the one that I was interested in because it's by the developers who did XCOM, wasn't it? So I loved XCOM. So if you can do that in a Star Wars kind of style, I think that would be awesome.
Okay, good. Did you two play Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order?
Negative.
Oh.
No, I say this every week, but again, it was on the list. But Ryan played it and absolutely loved it, and it did commercially did really well, didn't it, as well? So I think people have been expecting this news for a while. So it's nice to have it confirmed that it's getting a sequel because it properly slotted into the Star Wars lore and all of that. It was considered canon, I think. So no, but I would like to.
I had a really good time with it. I thought it was great. I think I said before in this podcast about the only weird thing, it has that kind of that Dark Souls kind of feeling to it. So you're fighting the enemies, but if you go back to that area, the enemies respawn like in Dark Souls, which is fine, but it makes no sense on the narrative. In Dark Souls, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it makes no sense in this. I don't get that at all. Why would they be there in the same position and doing the same thing? It's so weird. So yeah, I wasn't. That's the only bit I wasn't that interested in. But the visuals of it, I mean, it's a good time to play because it's been upgraded for the Series X. It's free, isn't it?
Good.
Free on the Game Pass. So yeah,
it is.
But that's quite. I think that would be quite exciting. Maybe another one of those. I think if people really like that. FPS, we don't know what that is. But yeah, Respawn. But the big thing from this... Sorry, Darren, you're going to say something before I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. Go on.
No, I was going to say the big thing is that people are talking whether this is going to be Star Wars Battlefront 3. Well, that's being pushed aside. And that's what EA are going to do now. They're going to focus on Respawn doing this thing rather than those. That's the rumour at the moment.
Interesting, because I mean, I'm not sure if I'm basing this on just my opinion or fact, but Battlefront 2 didn't do that well, did it?
No, and it had lots of problems, didn't it, with microtransactions as well.
That's right, yeah, because I remember seeing the price getting slashed repeatedly on the Xbox store until it cost like less than £10 or whatever, and I thought, that's never a good sign. Yeah, you're right, it was bugged with issues now, I remember.
Yeah. Paul, you excited about this, the Star Wars game?
Well, yeah. I mean, the only one I'm excited about, as I said, is the. I mean, I've looked at the Fallen Order and I thought, yeah, it does look like my kind of game. I think it's even installed on the old Series X, but I've not got around to starting it yet. But yeah, I mean, the strategy game from the makers of XCOM is the one for me. I think.
Good.
Just because, I like that kind of style of game. So
yeah,
if it's got the same sort of gameplay but Star Wars flavored, it's going to be pretty cool, I reckon.
Good.
There's a Knights of the Old Republic remake, isn't there? And High Republic game as well from Quantic Dream still on the cards.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be something for everyone. It feels like the approach that Disney did with the 3 sequels, 7, 8 and 9, they're just going for loads and loads of covering all bases and getting loads of Star Wars out there off the back of the success. So see how they go, I guess.
Yeah. Is the Knights of the Old Republic PlayStation only? Why have I made that up? Maybe it isn't PlayStation.
I don't think so. No. Can't you get it on the Xbox store? The original?
But maybe I thought
on Xbox.
You did. Maybe I think it's gone. Maybe PlayStation announced it. I don't know. We'll have a look at that. We'll get back to you on that.
Essentially,
this leads me on to DICE, of course, who did Star Wars Battlefront 3 and their latest game, which is the Battlefield 2042. It hasn't done very well at all, has it? It's it didn't sell very well. It just that they have server problems, haven't they? They've had all sorts of issues with all sorts of things, and the rumours are that they're considering now going free to play in the future.
Yeah,
Paul,
I'm
you
not
know,
sure
you've played this. I mean, you reviewed it.
I played it and I had to review it, and I'm not sure that going free to play is going to be the answer. To be honest, I think they need to address the issues in the game first. You know, they need to make it work properly, because you can have a game that's free to play, and if it isn't fun, then nobody's going to play it, are they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. I mean, it's one report I read said it had fallen out of the top 50 most played online games on the Xbox this week, which is very disappointing for a game that's been out, 3 months now?
Yeah.
You know, when you look at the performance of things like Forza Horizon 5, all right, it's not a direct comparison, but Halo Infinite hit 20 million players this week.
Yeah.
And Battlefield, unfortunately, it was a typical kind of DICE game. I don't think, apart from Bad Company 2, which is perfect in every way, I don't think I've ever played a Battlefield game where it worked correctly at the beginning. You know, Battlefield 3 had issues, 4 had issues, 5 had issues, and so on and so on. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that they're looking at this, but I'm not certain that going free to play will be the answer.
Have you... I forgive my ignorance. I've never really been a massive Battlefield fan. What are the main problems with it still then? Why do you think people aren't playing it?
It's basically the size of the maps, and despite the fact that there's 128 people on this map, you can go 5-10 minutes and not see anybody.
Oh, really?
Which isn't, if you're playing, I mean, there's various different modes and stuff, and if you play on the smaller maps, then it's great. But if you're playing against a team of, I don't know, people who want to be snipers, for instance, and they're all hid up in the hills with a sniper rifle, you can be running around, minding your own business, bang, you're dead, and you've got no idea where these people are. You can't find them. The servers had issues. It was sometimes difficult to get into matches and stuff. And it was just, when you did find somebody, it wasn't uncommon to come up behind somebody, start filling them full of holes, and for them to then turn around and one-shot you with a pistol.
Oh,
so,
it's
just, yeah, exactly. The time to kill was wildly different. It just wasn't anything special, and it had a lot of potential to be special. With that amount of people and that size of map, it wasn't particularly well implemented, I don't think.
That's a shame, because I remember seeing the trailer. It was the big tornado or whatever. Loads of people thinking, this looks like it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, when we first started and every server was full, it was quite exciting. But as the player count has fallen, obviously there's less people in the maps, and when you're in something that seems like the size of Wales and there's 12 people in there, you're never going to find them. So,
we've said this before. I think we said it when you reviewed it, Paul. You're never going to... I just don't think people are going to pay 70 quid for an online-only game. Not an online, just a multiplayer game.
Yeah, exactly.
You need a campaign. And that's when you got Halo, which has a campaign. It's got a campaign, and it's got this great, but people are really enjoying the multiplayer as well. That's free on. You don't have to have the thing. And then you're going to have the co-op stuff later on in March. It's... you need that package. People don't want it, and you're just getting all the people who... I would have bought it if I had a campaign. I would have played a few games multiplayer, and then maybe I would have dropped off. But you had none of that. You had no one kind of trying it out, because it was just the hardcores going in, and no one else. If someone's okay at all right at a kind of multiplayer shooter, they're not going to spend 70 quid to kind of see how bad they are.
No, it's no fun getting killed again and again, is it? No.
It was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous. This kind of notion that we're going to do. That's going to sell. It's never going to sell. Never. I don't think anyone would have said that. All the alarm bells went off straight away. It's like ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a Battlefield game without a campaign, it was always going to be a hard sell. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah. So,
now we haven't got much time because Paul's going to do a quiz, which we're really looking forward to. But the only other two announcements I'm just going to look at, we'll save the other couple of stories for next time. Crysis 4 has been announced today. That's all we know. We don't know anything else.
That's it. Early
development. I forgot about Crysis. And the other one, just really briefly, is free PlayStation Plus games for Feb. That's just been announced. It's Tina Turner's Assault on Dragon Keep, that little bit of DLC. USC 4 and the PlayStation 5 game is Planet Coaster console edition. So, just if you're interested in that, do you like that, Darren? Would you play any of those on your PlayStation?
I've not played Planet Coaster, but I used to be a massive fan of Roller Coaster Tycoon on the PC, so I'll give it a look, certainly.
Yeah. Okay. Paul, over to you. Quiz time.
Here we go.
Quiz time. Here we go. Let me get my sparkly game show host jacket on. Here we go. Right then. So, what I thought I'd do with the quiz this time is I've taken inspiration from the quizzes that you used to do, Gareth. Where you look through Metacritic and you jot down the comments that the general public have made.
Yeah.
But I've decided to have a theme this week. Oh. So my theme is the games are all from around the time the Xbox One launched.
Mm.
Oh.
So
when you say Xbox One, do you mean the original or the Xbox One in 2013?
I mean the Xbox One in 2013,
cool.
Not the Xbox. That's fine. I didn't have an Xbox in those days, so I would feel somewhat dishonest doing that.
Fair shout.
So yes, these are all games that were around in 2013. So there we go. Right, we'll do it the normal way. I've got 5 clues in descending order of points from 5 down to 1. And there will also be a bonus at the end for whoever gets closest to the user score for the title in question.
Okay.
Right. Are we ready then?
Yes.
Shall we let Gareth go first, Darren? Do you think that's all right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay then. Gareth, your starter for 5, and this is all in capitals, so imagine somebody shouting, I would rather do 15 college essays.
So this is a quote from the game, isn't it?
This is a quote from somebody writing about the game on Metacritic.
I'm with you. I've got you now. So yeah, good.
I thought I'd explained all that. Were you not listening?
I wasn't. I went off. I had a moment. I just an old person's moment looked into the distance. Good. I would rather eat.
I would rather do 15 college essays.
Let's say Dead Rising 3.
No. Darren?
I'll wheel out the classic guess for these things and say Anthem.
No. And not even a good guess for either of you there. Right. For 4 points then, Darren, I'm giving it I'll read it exactly as it was written. I'm giving it an 7 out of 10 because of the insane graphical fidelity.
Crysis 3?
No. Gareth?
Is it Forza Motorsport 5?
It is. Well done, Gareth.
Well done.
You, sir, have scored yourself 4 points. Well done.
Good.
Well done. That's an excellent guess.
So the other quotes were going to be for 3 points. So much potential, badly squandered for greed and to meet someone else's hardware launch deadline.
Wow.
2 would have been might be single-handedly my favourite racing game I've ever played. And for the 1.1, but at the end of the day, there's no better feeling in Forza 5 than pulling across the finish line in first place.
Oh.
So there we go. Right then. So what score do you think was given to this game by the general public? I will ask you first, Gareth.
I'm going to go for a 7.2.
Okay, Darren?
I'll go for a nice round 8.
Okay, well, you were both miles off. It was 6.0.
Ooh.
There we go. Right. Next one, and it's Darren to start for 5 points. Frame rate drops. The game went down to 14 FPS once. I'm not sure how you would check that on an Xbox, but there you go.
Yeah, fair. Cool. No idea. I'll just plump for Anthem again.
Nope.
One day. That's the answer. I'm determined.
Gareth.
Is it Dead Rising 3?
I don't believe it. It is.
Oh my god.
Now, this could be a disaster for you, Darren, because when I started reviewing games, was then this happened this year. So I've got this feeling I know this year very well.
Wow. I am amazed by that. Well done, Gareth. That's
very well done.
I say. So, after 2 questions, it's 9-0 to Gareth.
Wow. Sorry, Darren, that's mad.
Okay,
I'll try not to swear.
Let's see if you can get some points back then, Darren.
I can't remember any more games now.
What do you think the user score for this game would be?
I'll go 5.5.
Ooh.
Okay, Gareth?
I'm going to go 6.8.
Well, I'm going to have to give you that because it was 6.9.
Ooh.
So, well done. You're now 10 points in the lead. And it's your turn to start first.
Oh, no.
So here we go. Right. This is going to be an interesting one. For 5 points, Gareth. Got it, drank some beers with a friend, and tested it out.
Oh, God. Got it. So, could be anything, couldn't it? Let's say Dragon Age Origins.
No. Darren?
Gears of War 4.
No. How? I don't want to be mean, but Gears of War 4 was about 2 years ago. Anyway.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay, that's fine. Right, for 4 points then, Darren, this is for you. This is literally a waste of money. Do something useful with that cash instead.
Oh, God, it could be anything. Is it a multiplayer game, Darren?
It's Darren's turn for a
kickoff. Sorry, Darren.
Blimey. I don't know. Sunset Overdrive.
Oh
no. Anybody said that, I'd have word for them saying that Sunset Overdrive was a waste of money. Anyway, Gareth, your turn, my friend, and there will be no clues.
Is it FIFA 14?
It isn't FIFA 14.
Right. Okay.
Right, so Gareth, your turn for 3 points. The worst part about it is we as consumers keep forgiving Microsoft for this garbage.
I think I might be wrong here. It definitely is. Is it Halo 5?
It's not Halo 5.
No, that was 5 years ago.
Darren?
God, I'm trying to think. I have no idea. Not that I would ever agree with it, but Forza Horizon 3, I'm not sure.
No, it's not. Good guess, though. Right, for 2 points then, Darren. This has to be the worst Kinect game I've played. Don't waste your hard-earned money on this crappy game. And that is a quote, everybody. That's not me using naughty words.
Oh God, is it that? It's that Nightmares game. I can't remember what it's called exactly. I think. I don't know. It's something Nightmares. I'll go with. I can't remember what it's called.
It's not. I think, is it Rise of Nightmares? Was that?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
one?
It's not that.
No, it's not that.
Okay.
There is a worse Kinect game than that, believe it or not.
Blimey.
Oh, what came out then? This is what I'm trying to think. In my head, it's the Fable the Journey, but it's not that because that was a bit. I'm going to say Fable the Journey, but it isn't that.
It's not Fable the Journey, I'm afraid.
That was early, wasn't it? Oh, damn.
Okay, right. For 1 point then, Gareth. It's your time to shine. The kicks barely ever register, and the punches are even worse.
I can't even remember the bloody game. I know exactly what it is. It's that bloody sports game, isn't it? Is that a sports game? What's it called? No, Connect
That's
Sports.
kind of the point of the quiz.
Connect Sports.
No, it's not that. Darren, any clue?
Oh, well, I paid so little attention to Connect. The only one I can think of is Connect Adventures.
No, it's not that either. I have managed to defeat you. This is a game that they tried to give me when I bought my Xbox One, and I literally took it off the pile and went, "You can stick that up your nose as well." It was called Fighter Within.
Oh yeah, God.
Do you remember
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was dreadful.
Yeah.
God.
Right then. So for a bonus point then, what do you think the user score for this game was, Gareth?
3.1.
Darren?
4.
2.8. So Gareth edges it again. So 11 points to Gareth, 0 points to Darren.
Come on, Darren.
Can he turn it around with this one? 5 points, Darren. So terrible. The combat is repetitive and the storyline is generic.
Heck, I can't even muster a guess at all. I don't know. I'm going to pass.
Okay. Gareth?
Could be anything here. Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
No. Good guess, though. Right. So, Gareth, for 4 points, and in direct opposite, I really like this game. The graphics are stunning, and it has a very thrilling storyline.
Watch Dogs 2?
Nope. Darren?
I will say, I'll jump on the Assassin's Creed bandwagon and say Assassin's Creed Origins.
No. Right, so for 3 points then, Darren. All style and no substance.
Ooh. I know what this is.
Oh.
It's a good job there's no buzzers.
Oh, bloody hell. I've no idea. I'll guess Metal Gear Solid 5.
Nope. Go on then, Gareth. What do you think it is?
Rise.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It was Rise, Son of Rome.
I got my very good friend Gerald's in that. He's one of the bosses.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's really weird playing against your friend as a boss. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. So whenever you see him, do you have to fight him?
Yeah, he's never played it before.
Excellent. Okay, then. So, what about user score, gentlemen? What do we feel, Darren?
7.
Gareth?
6.2.
It was 6.4, so Gareth takes it again.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, a whitewash so far.
It really is.
I believe that makes it 15-0.
Come on, Darren.
So in order to win, you need to get this next question on the I don't think you can win, Darren.
I
might be
appreciate
plugging a dead horse here.
I appreciate you stringing out the tension.
But, there's no tension, is there, at 15-0? So, right then. So, last question. Gareth to go first for 5 points. This game has amazing netcode. There's no lag at all.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
No, it's not that. Darren, what do you think?
Oh God, I can't remember which one it is. Final Fantasy 14, if that was online.
It was online, but no, it's not that. Right, Darren, for 4 points. This is one I just had to include. I find it funny how if you click on the name of someone who scored this game a 0, you can see how they gave every X-Bone game a 0 and their beloved PS4 games a 10.
Oh.
Got nothing to do with the game, but I just thought it was a funny quote.
I don't know. Forza Horizon 3.
No. Gareth?
I've no idea. Dragon Age Origins.
No, it's not that. Right, your turn now, Gareth, for 3 points. Excellent game with get up and go capabilities. I've played this game a lot, and I don't know what that means, but it's a genuine quote.
I can't think of any more games now from that time. Let's say it's Let's Dance.
No, it's not that. Darren?
Get up and go capabilities.
Excellent game with get up and go capabilities.
Blimey. I don't know. The original Tomb Raider remake.
No, it's not that. Right, your turn again then, Darren. For 2 points, this is how you continue a game. I played the originals and loved them, but this is a work of art.
Ooh.
I think Gareth might have an inkling.
No, I don't think I have, actually.
Oh. Okay then. That was just trying to raise the tension a
just
bit.
Just trying to stop the silence in the air.
I don't know. The Spyro Reignited trilogy. No idea.
No, it's not that. Gareth, let's hear if that
I don't
noise
know.
was
Actually, I've got no
indicative.
idea. Metal Gear Solid 4.
No, it isn't that. Wasn't that only on the PlayStation 4?
Yes.
There you go. Right. It's unlikely to have been reviewed on the Xbox site, is all I'm going to say. Yeah. But anyway, right, Gareth, for 1 point. Polished visuals, excellent fighting mechanics, superb frame rate, etc. Double Helix has made their first fighting game.
Killer Instinct?
Absolutely right. Wow. Well done.
Oh, well done.
There you go. So, it's 16-0. All to play
God, Darren.
with this viewers score now. So, Gareth, what do you think the reviewers on this site gave it?
I'm going to go for 8.2.
Okay. And what about you, Darren?
I'll go for 6.5.
Well, you have managed to scavenge a point. It was 6.4.
Well done.
Oh, hooray.
Hurrah! So, With a victory margin of 16 points to 1, I declare Gareth the winner.
Well done, Gareth.
Thank you, Darren. Good. Right, gentlemen. Thank you, Paul, for that quiz.
You're very welcome,
Take
mate.
us back to 2013. What are we looking forward to next week before we go? Darren, what have you got?
Not much, really, although I've recently started going swimming again, so probably just getting back into that and trying to get a bit fitter.
Good. Paul?
I've got a diabetes blood test on Wednesday. I don't know if that counts.
That does.
There you go. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I've got nothing as well. I'm going to take James's, who was meant to be on. His one, All of Us Are Dead. It's a South Korean new Netflix show about high school kids in a zombie invasion. That looks quite good. That's it. Darren, where can we find you if you want to talk to you?
If you want to try and dig out some gaming opinions amongst all the political rants, then you can follow me on Twitter at 27Darren.
Great. Paul, what about you?
I am also on the Twitters, and my handle is at XboxHubPod.
Great, and you can get me on DB Briley on Twitter and Instagram and things. Hopefully, we're going to see you next week.
You're too old for Instagram, Gareth, aren't you?
No, I'm an
okay.
Instagram trender. No, not really.
Are you really?
No, I'm not. Right, gentlemen, I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're very welcome. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search The Xbox Hub on Facebook.